Yo, what's up, Corey?
Yo, 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 yo.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. What's up?
Perfect. Not a whole lot. What's up with you, man?
Hey, thanks for asking me to come on, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, of course. So am I. I've been looking up to you for a while, and I had Anders Barner on last 2 weeks ago, and
Yeah,
then you were on Barbell Talk. I was like, I'm gonna ask Corey. I was
for
like,
sure. No, Anders is a great dude, man.
yeah,
Turn
now,
your audio is a little low for me
okay. Let me try
because I'm
something.
trying to make sure it's not on my side. Hold on. Hold on. I think I got mine all the way up. So
Okay. Um,
hold on. Try again.
all right. Is any better?
Yeah, it's still a little bit.
All right.
Is it going through your computer or through your headphones?
It's supposed to be going through the headphones, but I'll try through the computer and see if that works better.
Well, if it'll sound better if it's through your headphones, I think. I'm just making sure.
Okay. Let me try the computer real quick to see if that works. All right. How's that?
It's louder, but I don't know if the quality's as good. Talk again.
How does this sound now?
Go back to your headphones.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm a stickler for audio.
I am back on the headphones. How does it sound?
So that if you can increase the volume on the headphones might be a little better. I don't know if you're able to.
How does it sound now?
Uh, let's try that. See if it. Go ahead. Go ahead and leave it in. See how.
Okay. How is it sounding now?
Cool. Let's do it.
Cool. All right. So, what you been up to, Corey? What's new in the life of Cory Gregory?
Oh man, adapting life, right? So right on point with what you call the podcast. Excuse me, coughing in my arm. Everything's good, man. Just look, I kind of operate in a solo manner anyhow. I miss the interaction of being with my guys and my powerlifting crew in the mornings from 4 to 6. We got the 4 a.m. crew that has been together for years, that we're a competitive drug-free team. I really miss that interaction, and I miss watching my kids play sports and things of that nature. Other than that, man, I've settled in, just trying to offer a lot of value to people that, in fitness community and members that are everybody in the world has the same problem right now. Everybody's stuck at home. So I'm a very popular home workout guy currently. So I feel blessed that I have a business that's still doing well, that I believe I offer a lot of skill set and value. Other than that, man, I'm just trying to be as positive as possible. One thing that I'm struggling with a little bit is I'm always training for something, right? Like being a professional, I'm always getting ready for a powerlifting meet or a bodybuilding show. And when cover things used to be a thing, I used to be doing the magazines. But this morning, I was just thinking, like, I need something to train for, but there's really nothing on the calendar because no one knows when anything's going to happen. So I would say that's probably the thing I'm struggling with the most. Other than that, I'm enjoying the family time. And surprisingly, this thing really hasn't affected me a ton. It did initially, but then once I started to understand what needed to happen, I've been okay.
Okay. Well, that's one reason I wanted you on the podcast because I know a lot of people could learn how to, well, motivate themselves or just listen to you yell at them in a good, positive way, motivate them. But another reason is I know you have a really cool story to tell, and
Sure.
then you started coal mining, and then is on cover of Men's Health, and now you're creating workouts that you can do at home. So I wanted to get a little bit into the background, like how did you start your journey from coal mining to get into where you are now?
Yeah, for sure. I'll give you some background. So, started off very humble beginnings. Single parent family. Mom, struggling as a waitress and working side jobs. Me and my sister, we grew up in a trailer. Rent was $150 a month. Lived there for like 7 years. Roofs falling in, just old, and being like the poor kid on the block. Basically, I wasn't, in some type of hood or some type of crazy like environment that had a lot of crime around it. But at the end of the day, when you have, essentially a poverty type of situation, it doesn't matter what color you are, where you're from. I think everybody can agree, like when you ain't got shit, you ain't got shit, right? So
Yep.
you start to identify with people. For me, it was like, rap videos and entrepreneurship and just understanding people that wanted a better life for themselves. Like I started to really just kind of gravitate to that type of material, even though this is like 97, there's no internet. Only thing I can see is like MTV and, some like long, like where I grew up in Ohio, Carnegie's name is everywhere through the Pittsburgh area. So we did a lot of,
Okay.
we was in the Pittsburgh area a lot. So I started to understand who Andrew Carnegie was pretty early. But starting to understand like, okay, this is not just a life I have to be okay with. I can, try to push myself to go do something I love to do, which was lift weights. And I started to understand that there was a job called personal training. The problem was I had no money and I didn't think I could make it through 4 years of college, just to be straight up. And so I was like, what is my path to this potential, profession? And it was like, I got a job in the sawmill, stacking lumber for 10 hours a day after going to community college initially. Then I got a job as a coal miner for about 6 months and saved like 20 grand and moved to Columbus to go to a 1 year program. It's called an exercise specialist program to understand and learn more about personal training. And that's really when I moved to Columbus in 99. That's when I started everything. And coming out of the coal mine, I understood how it was to make some decent money. And I was like, man, if I can put the same work ethic into fitness, which I love, and then also match it up with my why, which is change generational like wealth for my family and financial IQ and travel and just give them experiences that they would never have had previous to what I believe I can accomplish. That was all kind of wrapped up in my craziness and is still wrapped up in my craziness. And so really, starting as a personal trainer, a lot of people don't realize I built a personal training business for 10 years. I started when I was 20. I celebrated my 21st birthday with my own gym, essentially. Now it was 900 square feet. There was barely any equipment. It's very basic, but it was mine. And so, for 10 years, I built that. And for another 7 years after that, I started a supplement brand that did really well called Muscle Farm. I was a co-founder of that, built that for 7 years. And since then, for the last 5 years, because personal training and Muscle Farm overlapped a little bit because while I was building that business, I still would train some clients here and there. But really, like I almost have like three lives. I've got pre-Muscle Farm, which was all personal training in person, nothing on the internet. I have kind of Muscle Farm, which was just really focused on building that retail brand. And then I have post Muscle Farm, which is, workouts on Cory G Fitness, the podcast at Business and Biceps, Max Effort Muscle. We have a CBD social, which is a brand down South Carolina. I got Old School Gym, which I've had this entire time. And so now it's like building these other sub brands that are, I have different partners with, and they're just a reflection of the things how I operate in this business. And I'm just really passionate about those things. And that's what I take up most of my time, but it's really about just giving back, helping people, and everything's just kind of worked out, man.
That's fantastic. I know people can get a lot out of that. Where I come from in the Midwest, most people are like small town, go to work every day, hardworking, and most of the people that listen to this are just my friends that I grew up with. So
Mm-hmm.
at least for now,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
You're
I know
starting the
they'll
process, bro. That's good.
get a lot out of it. But for like the people that are like really struggling with this, what would you say they should be doing to like help themselves get through this?
I think you got to experience like, so for instance, if I just thought I was I was coal mining and I just thought, man, it'd be awesome to, do something that lifts weights for a living. Until I went and experienced it or saw it, I never realized how amazing it was. And if I never, listen to me, got past just personal training, that was what I did for my entire living. No supplements, no hundreds of thousands of people on the internet doing whatever, Instagram. Like I would have been a success in my book because I transitioned from where my family had been for 4 generations to what my true passion of what I want to do, which is lift weights and help people. And so like all these other things are a plus. So when people think about like, what you need to do to bridge that gap, you have to experience it, whether it's you're offering your time for free, whether you're shadowing. Like the way I realized is I was folding towels at the desk at this tennis and fitness club, which wasn't even hardcore, but it had like a cool little downstairs gym where people that were serious, a lot of young athletes that were ranked in the country, trained there in tennis. Even though I don't know jack about tennis, didn't really matter. It was more about like, all right, this is almost like a barbershop environment. I can pay $200 a month and I can just run my own business within this business. It was a great setup. But there was a guy there that I didn't necessarily like love the way he operated, but I liked the way he sold fitness and I liked the way he did things. And he showed me, I knew he was probably doing six figures as a trainer because I was doing the numbers in my head as I was watching, as I was folding towels at the desk. But I saw how happy he was and how his clients interacted, how consistent they were. And I was thinking, oh, I got this. Plus, I operate better than this dude. So I know I could build a business in this manner. But until I experienced it and saw that it was real, I couldn't then believe that I could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like when people come and operate with me, like interns that come mess with me and they see under the hood, when you understand what a seven-figure business is, then it's not as scary to you. Just like I didn't understand what a six-figure personal training business looked like. But then when I understood it, I was like, well, shit, this is just time involved. I've got the charisma. I got the know-how, at least the beginning know-how. I understand people. I know how to treat people. I can get people results and I can just mature as a trainer in my craft over time. Once I understood that, it was over. But I think a lot of people never take that step to feel it. Like they got to feel that it's possible. And I think that's big, man.
Thank you. That was awesome. Yeah. One of the other questions that I usually ask people is who inspired you growing up, and then who helped you find your work ethic?
Yeah, great question. My grandfather inspired me. First off, he's kind of like my dad left when I was 11, and he was around, but he wasn't really like my main father figure. My grandfather Frank Boone, who's 93 now, who taught me how to lift weights. He's the one that I kind of looked up and wanted to be like. He's big dude, like way bigger than me. He's like still 6'2", like 240 at like a 93-year-old man, like not in a rickety way either. He's just a big burly construction dude. He did do coal mining for a short period of time, but his father died in a coal mine explosion when he was 9 years old in 1935. And so like he obviously had him and his dad and his uncle died on the same shift when he like a week before Christmas, which was really
Wow.
sad. So he became the man of the house at 9 years old, 1935. And so that's like the basis of like who raised me. And he was in World War II and he was 17, just a bad motherfucker, basically, straight up. And so like he was the one that inspired me. He said, you want to be big and strong. And after I come home from work, we're going to lift weights. And my mom was struggling after my dad left. And we moved in with my grandparents when I was in sixth grade. And so from sixth to like midway through seventh grade, I lived with him and I lifted weights with him every day when he came home from work. And he didn't know a lot, but he knew the basics. And I was able to build some confidence through that. After that, fast forward years, just watching my mom continue to grind and make things happen and work and struggle and understand she still treated people. She still kept up on all the stuff at the house. Like she just always thought that even though things were rough, that didn't give us a reason to be dirty or disheveled or not with our shit together. Like she just took care of things at a high level and always like worked really hard. And then when she got remarried to my stepdad, when I was like 16, 17, he's the one that got me the job in the coal mine and showed me how really to work. He was working 80 hours a week, doubling on the last day pay, putting in doubles and doing all this craziness. And he had created a quality life for himself because he basically made probably six figures. I don't know exactly what he made, but I would say probably six figures as a coal miner because he worked like 90 hours a week. And there's a hard fall off because the balance was a little off, but a lot of us didn't have much. So he showed me really how to work. And then once I understood that, like if I can apply this to what I really like, see, here's the key. I matched up understanding real hardcore blue collar work ethic with a dream that I thought was attainable and with this overarching, like lifelong pursuit of changing the family tree. That right there, when it all matched up, and because of the way and the manner that I execute things, it gives back, it helps people, like I believe enriches their lives. All of that kind of together is what I think has allowed me to create more success over the years because it's all in the right place, man. It's not really about money. I want to make money because I'm a businessman, but I never really lead with that. I just know if I give somebody the most value for what their dollar is, that all that stuff's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And when I started to understand that, it opened up all kinds of opportunities for me.
awesome. And I know one of those opportunities, I could see him behind you in the poster. I talked about this with Anders a little bit too. Of the things you can create lead you to meeting really cool people in your life and like getting to create these relationships. And you like get to hang out with Arnold, which is
Yeah.
like one of the
Unreal.
coolest things ever. Like my dad got me started on Arnold movies and like Rocky movies when I was like 7. Like I grew up watching Terminator and all of his other movies, right? Like growing up, like Pumping Iron was something I saw as like 12-year-old probably.
Sure.
Um, like how did you end up getting to meet Arnold and then continuing to work with him?
Yeah. So, I live in Columbus, Ohio, where the Arnold Classic is, which is his fitness event he has every year. So when I first moved here, I had the opportunity to sell programs at the Arnold so I could get tickets, because I'm still kind of
Yeah, that's
figuring out
awesome.
my way. I don't got a lot of money, but I'm like, oh, I can get on the staff to sell like people like programs. I mean, I'm like outside, like, you want a program like for the, that has like all the bodybuilders. This
Yeah,
99. So that was way more kind of a thing then. So I got a chance to get a VIP free ticket, which means I could go to all the events because I worked. And so you got to figure I've never even been to a fitness expo. I think I'm going to hang out with Arnold, which isn't what happened. But I did get a Polaroid. This also goes to show how old it was. I got a Polaroid with Arnold that lasted less than 3 seconds, I think. So I never had a chance to say hi. I kind of walked by him and they took a Polaroid and handed it to me. It was like one of those type deals, right?
yeah,
And so, but it was interesting because I was like, okay, I've been in this city for less than 2 years. I've now wiggled my way into be a part of the biggest fitness event on the planet. I realized that every magazine was there, every supplement company, every player was coming to my town that I did not know I was moving to, by the way. Like I didn't know this was happening when I came here, and that I would have a yearly opportunity to bring a game. I realized that very young. So I was like, okay, it's not about my year starting in January. It's about my year starting in March, February, March, because that's the industry event. How can I then every year bring more game? So for years and years and years, I'm going there every year trying to create contacts and do things for like 10 years or whatever. It doesn't even get till year I'm going there for a year. Like I think I've been there since like 99. So 21 years. This would have been the 20th or 21st year. So like year 15, now I've got a supplement business. I'm a main sponsor, and I'm starting to get some talks around dealing with Arnold and maybe having a signature line with Arnold. And I get a chance to go to California, pitch, meet him, talk about how I would take the pumping iron footage and remarket it and go through and create new voiceovers. And we would write training programs together, which was the Blueprint Mass and Blueprint to Cut on bodybuilding.com. I wrote all those with Arnold, but really got to showcase two things. One, that I understood the golden era because that's all I really studied because I didn't have the internet. I just studied all that. So I know it almost like I lived then. I know the offshoot bodybuilders that no one really ever talks about, but Arnold trained with. Like our conversations were much different from that standpoint than probably your surface average bodybuilder conversations because I studied it at a different level. I understand the programming. I understand how it's evolved and how I operate now. And then also just like protecting his likeness because I have such an affection towards it. He knew that in this new bodybuilding age, if it was presented, he had to be with somebody that got it like I got it. And on top of that, I was on the cover of Fitness RX with my kids the month that I met with him. And one of the investors brought it from the airport and gave it to him. And so in the meeting, as I'm meeting with him, he's seeing me on the cover of a magazine that's on newsstands with my children ripped to the bone. And then when he looks on the inside, it's at my old school gym in Columbus. And he was like, where is this at? And it looks like a 1970s gym. His respect for me and understanding of how I operate from that point on has never been the same. He understood I was a dude who got it, who was not going to be like basically not take no for an answer and was going to creatively continue to push myself in this industry. And we really been friends and we were business partners for 3, 4, 5 years. And we've been friends ever since. I go to his house for Christmas every year. He's a mentor. It's been amazing. And I believe I'm one of the only people on the planet that has ever learned from Arnold Schwarzenegger personally and actually had instruction from Louis Simmons too. and been to Westside Barbell a bunch of times with some of the members. And I've never been an official member, obviously, but I've trained there plenty enough over the last 10 years and got real instruction from a high level of powerlifting at the highest level, basically. So I really believe that's kind of from my standpoint, from an application, I don't really believe there's anyone else like me, to be honest.
I don't think so either. That's fantastic.
I'm a
That's
one
like,
of one on that type of shit.
yeah, just super rare. Like Arnold and Louis. Like
All
that's
because I live in Columbus, believe it or not, which is crazy to me because when I moved here, I honestly didn't know either of them were here. I had no clue because it just, the the internet wasn't a thing. So like it was dial up early, like in Louis definitely wasn't on the internet then. So like I would read Powerlifting USA, but I just never really, I don't know. I just never really made the association when I was moving here. And I had saw Louis compete when I was 17. They came to Westside Barbell, came to a powerlifting meet, my second powerlifting meet I ever did. And Louis showed up and benched 600 on his 50th birthday. I was there. I watched him in a denim shirt, all the fucking West Siders. I had no clue what I was even witnessing. It was in the middle of a fucking trailer park, bro, where I'm from. No shit. And I talked to him years later. He's like, yeah, I used to call that Trailer Park Nationals. Like, I mean, dude, it's unbelievable. Like, I couldn't even make this shit up if I tried. So, like, this shit has just been around on accident, on purpose. Maybe it's, fate, faith, whatever. But I chose not to go to Pittsburgh, which my life would have been completely different if I moved there, guaranteed. Instead of I moved to Columbus, Ohio, or Cincinnati. I looked at Cincinnati. I looked at Pittsburgh. I looked at Columbus, and thank God I came here.
yeah. Like I mean, you can learn so many things from just those two people, which I know
Oh,
you have. And what have you done with that knowledge? I mean, I've seen it. I've looked at prob- probably close to all of your programs over the years. Like
cool.
I first found out about you from my friend who is a manager at GNC back
Mm-hmm.
home in Wisconsin. Because like I moved to a bigger city and I was living by myself, and he also co-owned the CrossFit gym that I was a part of, and I walked in and was like, dude, I need snacks for work. Point me to like the best protein bar. And he's like, oh, you got to try this. And it was the muscle farm bar.
Combat, yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then I just Googled it when I got home, and I saw you and I saw Arnold. And then I was like, wow, this is cool. And then like a little while later, I saw Squat Every Day, and I started that for a while. And I was like, oh, this is
That
fantastic.
separated me big time,
Yeah.
big
How did you
time.
get started with that?
So I had finally worked up to a point where I went to a meet alongside Westside, right? Wasn't that there's no like official, you're going with us, but I was training there at least once a week, and I was having Tony Ramos help me. And I was set to open up. I think I opened up at 650 at 181 on
Okay.
squat. I thought every bit of I'd squat 7 to 720 at 181, suited up, drug free, no problem. Well, I made a bad mistake. I never really squatted with my straps up on my suit. And with the weight cut, which was really hard, I probably wouldn't have squatted all time, but I would at least made my opener. No question. I was squatting that straps down, like half ass all the way up to this meet. Drive 6 hours with Tony Ramos, who's literally got the best total ever, I think, for a 40-year-old man at 181. I don't think he was even like presenting himself as a master. He did like a 2060 total when he was at 181, which is absurd. He's one of the OG West Siders. So anyway, he's always helped me. He's a great dude. So anyway, I drive down, I go with the meet. There's an amateur day and a pro day. So amateur day, obviously me, I'm an amateur in those ranks. And Louis he literally calling my depth. Like I'm in it. I'm there and I'm fucking pumped. I choke all 3 squats. I bomb out. I can't I look like, dude, it was the worst nightmare for me. And I'll tell you why. I waited my whole life of powerlifting to be able to be in there. And if I would have went and fucking murdered the whole meet, I really believe, and this wasn't supposed to be my path, but I was under the impression, hopefully, that Louis would see that and say, you need to come up here more, right? That's what I wanted. And they don't have a lot of light guys. So I really thought I could represent one of the light guys. So that was that was what I was trying to do. Well, instead, I never have my fucking straps up. I get there and the bar's just rolling all over the place, bro. I unracked 650. One, my weight cut was really tough. The bar felt outrageously heavy. The bar was like slipping on my back. I couldn't get in the right spot. I was used to trapping it with a t-shirt or something, or a sweatshirt or something. The poly straps I was wearing, like, to say it was a train wreck would be doing myself a favor. It was fucking terrible. And Louis like, what the fuck is going on with you? I'm not even moving the weight. So anyway, I am like, and there's people coming out to watch me. I'm demoralized. And I have to sit there bombed out. Never happened to me before. So I got to sit and watch the whole meet. Then I got to stay a whole nother day because Tony's lifting the second day. So I have to marinate on this bitch for like 2 days. And he bombed out too, actually, which is kind of funny. So we both just fucking drove home. We're pissed off. But I come home and I was so mad. And I was like, you know what? That shit can never happen to me again. And so I literally Google searched what happens if I fucking squat every day. That's what I Google searched. And all of a sudden, John Bros comes up. And he's an Olympic lifter. And this was a Bulgarian type of program. And just me being me, like learning off all these people, my brain starts going, okay, well, I don't really front squat that often. What happens if I do that more, get that mobility? Then I could Olympic lift if I wanted to. Then what happens? John Bros is talking about just shaking hands with the bar on a regular basis. You get more confident. I don't know anybody that does this. And I was just like, I'm very open-minded. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's fucking do this. And over time, I just created my own conjugate style program. So I basically took what I learned from Louis, which is a Russian method or Soviet method, what I learned from John Bros, which is a Bulgarian method, and my own spin, and just meshed them together and created my own squat everyday protocol, which now has evolved to a 5 time a week squat protocol where it's 4 back squats to 4 front squats to 1 back squat. And then we also, once again, Louis had dynamic effort, band tension on squats. I wasn't a big proponent of that, but I did like the band grind. So I created my own band tension protocol of 200, 300, 400 pounds of bands in a 3-week wave against the conjugate. And it exploded all of our lifts at a level that, I mean, I had a 181 pull 650, like the bar was empty, back squat 580. I just had a 165 back squat 550 and pull 550 at the Arnold and win it drug free. So like, you know, I saw my own back squat go from missing 650 at 181 in a triple ply powerlifting suit wrapped up to making a 540 back squat raw at 181. I saw that happen. There's no way when I was taking that 650, I was back squatting 540 raw. No fucking way. So like my strength and my deadlift and everything just flew through the roof, and it really made me a stronger human. That's also when I came up with lunging as a conditioning of 400 to 800 meters a day, and really just became my own programming kind of person that I think will leave my mark on this industry. I just did things different. That's where it came from. So I'm glad I didn't hit those squats that day, even though it was really hard. Sometimes there's clarity in creativity through struggle, though. Most of the time, that's how it happens. And that's how it happened to me. Changed everything for me.
That's awesome. And another reason I think people can get so much from you and what you've been saying over the last like, however many years, like 20
10
years,
plus years. Yeah.
yeah, all the years is like we're as like a nation and like as a world, like we're going through a struggle, right? And like you can only get better. Like struggle either makes you grow or like you're done. So
Yep.
like that's another reason why I wanted you on here because like I know you've had struggles, but like now you're what you're
Everyone
doing
is.
now. Yeah, now you're on top of the world, crushing everything.
Well, I think that here's one thing we haven't done. We talked about this on our podcast at Business and Biceps. People are forced to actually be still. You can only entertain yourself so much in this environment. Yeah, you got Netflix and Hulu and the internet, and yeah, you're going to have all that stuff. But eventually, you're going to have some stillness with your thoughts. And people entertain themselves away from that constantly. The reason why I'm not really struggling a ton, I do have some struggles, just like everyone, but not to a high degree is I think because I've already went through these things with myself and these early morning workouts, early morning development. I've went through my issues as a kid. I've overcome a lot of things in my life. I understand being in limbo because entrepreneurship is limbo. You know what I mean? Like I have to create my own paycheck my whole life. I've done that for 20 years. So like, I think that there is things that have come my way that I'm trying to help my family navigate through. But I would say it doesn't feel as unnatural for me because my life is already in this vein a little bit where a lot of things are faith-based from a standpoint of I believe things will work out if I put the work towards them, and I have to be creative on the fly and all of this type of environment, self-motivating, all these type of environments. But a lot of people haven't searched through and found these things about themselves yet. So I think this is like a lot of time for people to work on themselves and not just entertain themselves away from the reality of they have to deal with some hard shit. We talked about this on my podcast. Like, you got to go through that painful shit to then kind of come out on the other side. Very similar to what I had with the lifting is, I went through something really fucking shitty. Actually, if I have to think about it from a powerlifting standpoint, it was the worst case scenario ever. I had the greatest powerlifting coach essentially coaching me that day. I was with the strongest team on the planet, even though I was like halfway a groupie at that point. But at the end of the day, I was still there and I had a chance to showcase what I could do. And I fucking choked. That's hard, bro, especially with the position I was in as the muscle farm dude or whatever, right? So, but because of that, I was able to extend my reach. When I went on Barbell Shrug shortly after that, no Olympic lifters or real power lifters really knew who I was because I didn't really or CrossFitters. I didn't really operate with those guys. I was very specific to bodybuilding.com for content mostly. That opened me up to an entirely different world of people, which made my personal brand actually way bigger because then more people could identify with what I was doing, no matter what sport they were into. And then when I evolved to doing the muscle trifecta, where I did Olympic lifting one day, power or bodybuilding on Saturday, and then powerlifting Sunday, it showcased people that I'm not like great at any of these things, but I'm willing to push myself in all these different areas. It made a big difference in my career, man, like huge difference. So this is the same type of thing. Some people are going to come out of this much better. And that's what I'm preaching. Work your ass off right now on yourself, mentally and physically, because guess what? Job market's about to get interesting. It already is. So you're going to be out there competing against other people for livelihood. Why not be A game? I mean, why not use this time for A game and then come out and kill everybody metaphorically because it's competitive, right? So it's not like, it's more about like you want better for yourself. You're going to be competing against others. If you take this time to make yourself better, how can that not project into a better life for yourself after all this is over? I just think that that's the mentality you got to take. That's the one I've been taking.
That's awesome. I totally agree. Like you have, like if you're not working or having, maybe you're working from home, like you can still work more efficiently at home than you
For
can
sure.
at your office, and then you can take that other time that you don't have to just sit in traffic getting to work or coming home from work, and you can study something or start something that you've always wanted to.
Yes.
Like there's no reason why you can't like pursue something like that. Like
No,
we're
I mean, I
at
have the
home, like
dude, just like this, for instance, like normally this would be hard to get done, but I have the time. So this is a way for me to hopefully impact yourself or your crowd, or just say something I haven't said before that can turn one light bulb on, just like that kind of the man in the arena, right? Just like somebody's never heard me talk before. I'm taking every opportunity because I have the time, because I don't know when I'm going to get this time back. When I'm not, I'd be dropping my kids off at school or making sure something's going on at max effort right now, or do it like, and I can still do most of those things, but it's like the way that I'm moving right now is just way different. So I have more time to do things like this. And I just haven't said no to any of them because I think it's a great chance to, kind of spread what I'm about.
yeah, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come on my
No problem.
podcast and preach what you're preaching to everybody. But I had another question. How did you get started with like max effort muscle? Like I thought for the first time at the Arnold 2 years ago when I got to meet you. Like I was walking around with my friend and I saw the old school gym booth, and one of the ladies started talking to me. I was like, "You work with Cory Gregory, don't you?" And she's like, "Yeah, he's right there," and like just pointed out the booth. And I was like, "I'll be right back." I like ran over there, and the guy that came up to me first like gave me a sample of pre-workout, which didn't help my like anxiousness about being in a big coliseum with a bunch of people.
Yeah, right.
I was like, he's like, "What can I help you find?" I was like, "Cory," and
Yeah.
he's like, oh, he's right there, and then just pulled you over. So like, what got you started on creating mass effort muscle?
Yeah, so coming off of MP, man, I really was focused on trying to get a group of guys together, a new ownership group that wanted to really go direct to customer. I had already built a retail kind of giant, basically, right? I think I could label it as that, and saw the pitfalls of that and things I didn't like about that type of business. Mostly just the big corporate shit, just not really my jam. That's not the way I operate. It's not what I look forward to doing. I can do it, and I did it pretty well at points, but I'm much more about the customer, that, one-to-one, buy at one place, come right to customer service, be able to turn things fast, create things on the fly. That's just more my style of business. And so I got with John Fosco, who also is the co-host on Business and Biceps. And John had ran all of the MP advertising through the Octagon with the UFC. So we had done tons of business with John. Very smart, very numbers driven, very goal oriented, just successful dude. And then I brought in Coach Myers, who is my high school friend I own Old School Gym with. That is the best wrestling strength coach on the planet, bar none. And so he owns a part. And we got Clay Guida and Travis Brown, former and current UFC fighters. So the ownership group at Max Effort, very unique. And I just was talking to Johnny. I was like, man, I want to go throwback, right? We went like Nike-ish on the first venture, and I think we accomplished that. And this, I want to go Dollar Shave Club look. I want retro packaging. I want that old vibe. And he was aware of this really cool art group out of Seattle that had done like a lot of stuff for Metallica and Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam. And we actually got a hold of them and created the Max Effort logo, which was a branding package, which was for the bottle and the unique look and the kind of way the lines come out. And so it's really artwork, bro. That's what's so crazy about Max Effort. It's such a creative mix of myself and John and artists that are like big time artists, bro, to create. So it's very basic, but there's so many different components to the logo when you break it down. And, the packaging was a key because we never told anybody it was coming in a burlap sack. So for you the guys that don't know, it delivers not in a box, but in a burlap sack to your house. So, we had like 1,000 people pre-order sacks. And when they delivered, that's when Snapchat was super hot with our, the older age group, which maybe it is. I don't use it as much as I used to, but man, my snaps were blowing up with people like, damn, this is so sweet. So it was a real unique kind of setup. But Max Effort started early 2016, and it's been awesome. So much fun. I really enjoy taking my time with the products. Nothing leaves the door if I don't believe it mixes amazing, tastes amazing, and has a purpose for the customer. And we just really try to live by, if customers need something, we try to bend over backwards. And I'm highly involved in answering messages and creating content, creating products with the science team. It's a lot of fun, man. I enjoy it. And we're getting really good results with the product, and we don't make no bullshit. We make stuff that's effective and goes along with the programs, and it's all vertically kind of integrated.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm out of questions. So, what are before we leave? I guess what are the top three things you wish people could learn from this, and
From
or what advice you would have for them before this all ends and we get to go back to what
oh,
people think is normal?
first off, it's going to be a while, so buckle up. Get your fucking pack your lunchbox. That's number one. I think there's going to be percentages of our life we get back. There might be percentages of our life we never get back, to be straight with you. But the positive side of it is, if you use this time, whether we have one more week or 3 more months of essential quarantine, right, where you're operating still pretty much at your house, if you create a real daily routine to make yourself better, find the spots that you are struggling in or that you haven't worked on, and make an intentional, see that's the word, an intentional effort. Whether it's training, your hamstrings are weak, I'm doing something hamstring related. I'm doing research about hamstrings. I'm working on hamstrings. I'm doing different variations of hamstrings, stretches and strengthening. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's time to go levels deeper on stuff that you don't normally have time with. And there is probably never in our lifetime going to be a pause button ever hit like this again. And so you should not squander the time away. It is valuable, and I would use it and look at it that way. Now, everyone's going to struggle with these things where it feels real fucking motivated for a while and then you feel like not doing anything. I go through the same stuff. It's just what it is. And so does my family. And so, but staying on my morning routines, whether they're as amazing as they were before or not, or I don't get to train with as many guys, have as much competition, but I'm still up studying or training or making myself better during those time frames. And I really think like that right there is everything, whether it's your craft, whether it's your hobby, or if there's something you've always wanted to do, this is the best time to start it. Maybe you're not going to go get a storefront and start some, major store or something. But what happens if you did want to start a podcast or you wanted to work on a side project in a business and source things from Alibaba and all? This is the time to do it. So I would just like anything else, man, I'm always looking at glass half full. I live my life that way. And I think that this is the same type of scenario. Now, I think back 2006 when I'm only personal training and my wife just quit her job and I got one kid out and one on the way. If I'd have been going through this, it would have been a different set of circumstances. I wouldn't have been able to train clients. I didn't have any savings. I was still on my pursuit. I get it. There could be some really tough struggles, but even within that, if I would have been having to go to people's houses and wear fucking gloves and train for half the price, I would have found a strategy to keep my lights on. You see what I'm saying? Or if I had to go back to fucking coal mining, I would have done it. Whatever I had to do to survive, I would have done it. And so I think just having that outlook is key. And if you are furloughed or off, use that time to make yourself better for your craft and your competition. So then you can continue to, climb the ranks when you get back to the corporate environment. I just don't believe in staying idle and doing nothing. I just don't operate that way. It's never benefited me or my family. And I don't really understand that mentality, but it is, some people are depressed about the situation. And I can also identify with having next to nothing growing up and understanding how our situation would have been. It'd have been really tough.
Well, thank you so much for doing this today. Where can people find you, like other than like men's health?
Yeah.
Like
So just
branded
at
stuff.
Cory G Fitness, CORYG Fitness across all platforms. Give me a follow, shoot me a direct message. And then our podcast is at Business and Biceps. And we talk about, life and business and all that type of stuff. So check us out on there, go and subscribe. And I appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you so much. I can't wait for this quarantine to be over. I'll definitely come to you down there, to the gym, and at the Arnold next year if it's still going on.
You got it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.